I'm CraigO, and join me on my adventures with CraigO's cryptocurrency as we cover the blockchain, Web3, NFT, and cryptocurrency technologies. Interviewing the best in the industry, giving tips and tricks, and also sharing with you projects that I'm most excited about. You're watching CraigO's Crypto Corner, the best in Web3, blockchain, NFT, and cryptocurrency technologies. So today, it's the Web3 things. Not 10 things, it's just the Web3 things. So let's get right to it. NFT community engagement is paramount for any project to be successful. NFT community engagement, remember that, is paramount. And so here are a couple things that we look at, right? I look from the devs to the project creators to not only be engaging with their communities on Twitter and Discord, I also look for them to be transparent. When it comes to any issues that may arise within the community, unfortunately, it is not uncommon for Discord servers to get hacked, and many more hacks on the way. So here's a little tip. If you're starting to get into this space and you've bought some NFTs, you've gotten onto a Discord channel, and you get a link to mint, well, first, make sure your DMs are shut off. But the tip of this today, and I've spoken about it in past podcasts, is cut and paste that link. Then put that link onto Twitter and Discord and say, is this a viable, legit link? Do not click on the link. Other people will be able to possibly verify it for you. Let the numbers, let the community tell you if this is a malicious link or not. There's still risk. I can't give you full comfort, but I can at least give you the idea that that might be the right direction to go into. How fast are devs and heads of NFT communities to respond if a channel has been hacked or compromised? 4 things that are important that stand out. Leadership, first and foremost, is paramount. That is everything. A clear understanding of the problem, estimated downtime, if any, is number 3, and then have they identified, for number 4, a long-term solution. If you have a long-term solution, you then have a long-term gameplay that if this ever happens again, they know how it's going to be handled. Possibly it won't happen because they've stopped any issue from like that particular issue from happening. So, depending on when you enter into an NFT community and you vest your money into a digital asset, it is important to review the roadmap and the team to have an idea of where this project is potentially headed. I've said many of times before on this podcast, I am a 5 to 10 year thinker out. So I don't look to get into a project one week to then get out the next, right? So 3 things on this are particularly important, right? Roadmaps are boring, but they are necessary. Now, roadmaps don't have to be completely developed when a project is minting or even before a project mint. Team members are doxed, they're identifiable. And then, how are they continuously engaging with their community? And it can be the small talk of good morning, good afternoon, good night. It can also be the talk of what's coming down on the roadmap, the offer of utility, anything where there's general conversation with little FUD, but people in the community are super knowledgeable about NFTs overall. You want a community that is well educated, and then you're in a project, whether it's maybe you like the art, maybe you like what it represents, maybe it's a nostalgic play. We talked to Malcolm from the VV app. He came on, he is a huge holder. He's got a 200 plus items. So when we spoke to him, he definitely had some really good insight on nostalgia. I don't see projects as a quick cash grab. There we go. I look for communities that are clearly defined and the roadmap and community that supports the mission of that digital asset. All right, so mass adoption hasn't even started yet. Here on June 13th, we're entering into a bear market. Okay, so what happens next? Well, people who are in projects appreciate the valued or the discounted value that they're getting to cost average, whether it's they're getting into a digital asset for less or they're collecting in more cryptocurrency. They're now starting to learn. I would say this is a time where you educate yourself. You then connect with people who have collections or are doing things in the space on different blockchains. So the mass adoption. So once this happens, right, projects will now have a chance to do things well past what we thought was possible. And my perfect example to that is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I mean, last year in their mint, I think it was between $500 to $1,000, maybe even less. And some of those digital assets within that collection are maintaining incredibly well. I believe that their all-time high on the floor price, meaning the lowest price item, was around 300,000 US dollars. So I see that being a potential for other projects. Now keep in mind, 90% plus projects might fail. So to learn about the ecosystem and get in projects that you're passionate about, really passionate about, is challenging when you're looking just to potentially make money. I've talked about the store of value and the house of information. Value the house of information now to do your learning. The talk on Twitter and Discord, I look for projects that have not even come out yet. And here are the two things that I'm thinking, right? One is minting and the other is paper hands. So with minting, is there a set price to be announced by the community? And how many can I get when minting? I am a huge fan of getting multiples. I don't want to get one. Non-fungible tokens means that they cannot be fractionalized. Cryptocurrencies, however, can. So, paper hands. Here's 3 things about paper hands. Is there a long-term vision for the project? If no, that's a potential paper hand. Are they spamish on their tweets and posts within their Discord community and other social media platforms? If they're spamish with it, to me, that is a potential paper hand moment. Are the communities bots, or are they actually people in these communities actually engaging with you? If you see a high number of individuals on a particular channel, but the engagement of likes, comments, shares, hearts, whatever have you, retweets, or quotes on tweets, if those can't be seen by other people that are out there in the ethos, and it looks like it has very little engagement, that might be one indicator. And if that is, and that's yes to any of those, or all 3 of those, you might see that project do a paper hands play, which means that after minting, they're then going to put it on secondary market sales. And sometimes what they're going to do is chase it down. They thought they would make a quick flip. They're rather able to take the loss and grab the liquidity to then go into another project. So their risk is not based necessarily on loss. It's about the opportunity of gain. And then if they don't get that gain, they want to at least get back whatever loss they have, and then put that forward into another project where they might try to play paper hand again. I love secondary sales. It supports the artist and the project and the community. If a project after mint has the majority of holders listing immediately, as I just said, on secondary sales before a floor has been established, that is a concern. All right, so here are some things to think about further. 4 things. Secondary sales by percentage of owners to item ratio, right? What is secondary sales are weak? What does that actually mean? So if secondary sales are weak, then that means that there is also a concern that any other projects that might come from that community might do just the same. So as I said, secondary sales by percentage of owners to item ratio. So if you have 10,000 items in a collection and you've got 6,000 owners, that's pretty strong. But if you have 10,000 items in a collection with only 1,000 or 1,500 owners, then I have maybe a little bit more of a concern because there was a lot that did not get minted. If rarity and traits within a collection are at floor price, I would be incredibly concerned. That's probably the 4th most important. And obviously, you as a newbie, or even maybe as an intermediate, you might be able to understand a little bit about rarity or traits within a particular collection. But if there's a rarity or trait, when you click on it, it will show you the rarities and the traits. And that means, so for instance, if you have a collection of 10,000, I'm really speaking to the newbies on this, a collection of 10,000 Bored Apes, and only 2 of them have the pink hat. Now, again, I don't know that any of them do have a pink hat. I'm just using this as in context of example. Well, that pink hat should not be selling at floor. It should be selling well above because only 2 out of the 10,000 collection have that rarity. So that's what I mean by traits. It could be different color shirts. It could mean different color backgrounds. So this in part would be that I would build up to the mint on the hype, or is it long-term vision? So I look, is it more hype-ish, spamish, or is there a long-term vision? Is there something that you like about it? Is the engaging of the community? And well before mint, don't get overly excited of, hey, this is gonna make me a lot of money. It's, do I see long-term trajectory? I've said to you guys many times before, and I'm really having to put my money where my mouth is on some of the collections now that things are down, I am a diamond minds, diamond hands thinker. Doesn't mean I won't sell to grab profits when I can, but I love the technology and I love the communities. And when I wanna be a part of a community, I'm less likely to sell. So, speaking on accountability is key. OpenSea, for those of you that don't know, OpenSea is a marketplace. It's an NFT marketplace where you can buy, sell, and trade NFTs. And Solana is in on this. Ethereum, obviously, as I knew, first introduced. OpenSea is like the eBay of NFTs. I hate to use the eBay of or the lift of, but for me at least, it reminisces of what that represents with digital assets. So OpenSea executive Nate Chastain was arrested. He was a project manager, and we talk a lot of times about scams in this space. He had access to product information in advance to manipulate the market to make money for his own benefit. Who could imagine that, right? He oversaw picking what NFTs would be featured in the NFT marketplace on OpenSea. Insider trading, the greatest question. Are NFTs going to be treated as securities? Only the Fed, only will we find out by the government what will end up happening. At the end of the day, he's being charged with 1 count of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering. Regulations are on their way. What are the pros and cons? I think the pros is that we need credibility in this space for mass adoption. That's one of maybe a number of things on mass adoption. The other, I would say, is that you don't want government's hand too far in your cookie jar. And the whole beauty of the blockchain and decentralized finance is that it is a decentralized. I kind of like that. I don't know about you. So my thoughts, pros and cons. I see the good and I see the bad. I see that they're first going to go after stablecoins. They tried to make a really good case with Luna's algorithmic UST coin. You can't really make a case on that because the health of that stablecoin was pegged to the health of the Luna coin. Whereas with stable coins are directly pegged to the US dollar, there's money that is stored for that particular coin. But when everything went out from underneath that algorithmic stable coin, there were certain stable coins that were quickly starting to depeg from the US dollar. That was actually USDT. People were getting confused UST, and they were getting it confused with USDT. And USDT is not an algorithmic stable coin. So let's break down the brilliant tweets of Hi-Rez. And the reason I mention him so many times is because of how he intimately engages and interacts with his community in such a profound way. And he's been doing it more and more. I actually picked 2 of my favorite tweets from a few months ago. I went back into the Twitter archives to try to find some things that really resonated with me. He does not look at projects as competitors, but as connected collaborators on the Elrond blockchain. He's not against Ethereum, but he did move over his Hog Homie family and gave them the option to bridge over to the Elrond network. He is shouting out major projects in the space and wanting to do collaborative efforts. To me, 2 of his most notable tweets. March 1st, if Hog Homie holders don't win a giveaway, don't worry, you still have access to events, whitelist opportunities, alpha access to my rap game. He's a very accomplished rapper, by the way, in the future. And then you can choose to sell it if and when you get tired or bored. Think of it this way. It is like a lottery ticket that grants you access to all things and can be resold. So he's thinking about the current value and the future value for your upward momentum for your upward momentum. So I would leave it on this. This is not financial advice, but this is one of the projects that really excites me. Please do your due diligence on that. February 28th, he had another tweet. I won't be abandoning Ethereum on OpenSea, but most of my NFTs moving forward will be exclusively on Elrond blockchain because the transactions are dirt cheap and the community shows love to small-time creators. I feel like LeBron going to Miami. I'm taking my talents to Elrond. Lastly, he is consistently running these contests through his generated revenue from his rap career. He rewards holders and gives back with incredible generosity. I highly recommend that you check him out. So this past weekend, Easton Gladney and I were discussing at length what a dev's mission is on Discord and Twitter, what it should be. He is incredibly knowledgeable in this space, and he speaks a lot about something that I talk to you guys a lot about, which is social currency. It is key. So here are the questions that he always asks of a community. Maybe he won't ask it directly. Maybe you can ask it before you're getting into a project. You could literally go into a Twitter or Discord page and you can say, hey, are the devs and project owners, are they doxxed? Great question. Dox everyone who isn't on the team dox everyone who is on the team on Twitter and Discord. So you say, is everybody, including the owners and the devs, is everyone doxed? Literally put that in a channel and see what they say. See how the community responds. Again, they're going to want to protect their digital asset. They also don't want to engage upon FUD conversation. They want to keep the positivity. We are incentivized to do that as holders in any given project. So project founders and devs need to be active daily, especially when building. So the question would be, are the founders and the devs, are they active daily on this channel? You can literally ask that question, and you'll be interested or be surprised on the answer that you get. Twitter AMA is where, as a holder, a community member, you get to ask questions. So this is a lot of fun. As you get to understand about the space, hop into Twitter Spaces, go in on those AMAs, really check out what they're saying. You'll get to know more about the ecosystem and, in particular, your project that you've decided to put your hard-earned money into if you decide to. Again, not financial advice. All right, so detailed information on a project's utility token. So some of these NFT projects will have a utility token that are attached to it. So for instance, I'm on a project right now where I'm in a few projects where I will take those digital assets, I will stake it onto their platform, onto their website, and from that I will earn a utility token, their particular token that they've created. Eventually, maybe it'll be part of a swap pool, maybe it'll be on the DEX, maybe I will be able to get merchandise with it, maybe I'll be able to trade it in for new mints or potential drops where there is, where you'll need some of that particular utility token. Whatever it is, it's just good to see that there are many different purposes for an NFT utility token project. So, for instance, I've mentioned many times metaverse. I've staked my properties. I have a MET token. So as I keep staking those properties daily, I am earning. And I don't pull off those properties because it costs money each time you do. And right now, things are at a low. So I just let those numbers keep adding up. And as more people and the market continues to trend upward, eventually I'll pull out that MET token and either swap it, go further into this project, or diversify into other projects. I've always said diversification can be your friend at most times, especially right now. Weekly or bi-weekly updates on everything the founder did on a project. So what you might ask for is you go into the Twitter or the Discord page, hey, how often do you guys give weekly updates on what you're doing on these particular projects? Add a tab on Discord where the project wallet is public, right? So for instance, Metaverse, if they have their public wallet, I think they make it actually accessible. But some projects do, some projects don't. We want less anonymity. We want the project owners and founders. We want the devs. We want everybody being doxxed. We want to create more transparency in the space. So bear market opportunities. I'm running towards blue chips and cryptos with a solid foundation and fundamentals, all right? So some of my 3 alpha networks say a couple of the things, right? So my alpha network are, guys, a Web3 network. So I say some of my Web3 alpha network says just this. Layer 1 coins like Ethereum or Matic. Those are projects to possibly look into and maybe get those coins. Take a look at them, see if they make sense for you. Read about them. Are they a top 10 coin? What are they doing? So the other one is NFT projects that are current or future blue chips or down from their all-time highs right now. Really, really important. Interoperability. To move seamlessly from one blockchain to another. There are 3 things that I think about when that can happen, and that allows, for instance, maybe the Ethereum blockchain to connect directly with Elrond, or Elrond to connect directly with Solana, right? Because every team is going to have a mission. Every blockchain is going to have a mission to have great NFT platform projects. But here are 3 things that I think are really important. Security, it being seamless and easy for the opportunity of mass adoption, and dependability, that failed transactions are less likely. Right now, Web3 is a little bit more clunkier than Web 2, for sure, and for a lot of different reasons. The technology is still developing. We still haven't had mass migration, and until we have that, then more time, research, resources, and money will be put to that. So question for you guys. If you own 10 or more NFTs on 2 different DeFi wallets across 2 different blockchains, right? When will mass adoption happen? My guess, just throwing spaghetti against the wall, is 5 to 10 years of mass adoption. on a massive scale. So some of these cryptos and NFTs that you have right now that are so dramatically down, and even though a number of projects are going to go out, there's going to be one or two of those projects that might be amazing. Could be life-changing. I don't know. Not financial advisor, but I do think diversification is key. And if you're spread out too thin, there's a challenge. If you're not spread out far enough, you might have a bigger challenge. It's just my thought, right? So when things become easier for everyone to use and engage with, right? So when will mass adoption happen? You might have your answer. I definitely have mine over the next 5 to 10 years. Most things in the Web3 ethos have been or will be exploited at some point. There's always going to be a scam. There's always scammers working harder or as hard as the developers within particular projects. So always be cautious, always be skeptical, always be pessimistic in this regard when it comes to security. Do not be optimistic thinking that you can't be or won't be scammed. How do we as a unified collective make others aware of scams and channels that may have been compromised? Communication is key, and I'm seeing it within different communities. So Solana in June went down for the second time in a month. I look at this as an opportunity for me to buy in because I already have Solana. So if I can cost average down, why would I not to collect more of a native token SOL that I believe in? Is it a top 10 coin at the time? Is it a top 10 coin at the time of this recording? Solana is, I believe it's either 8 or 9. And then Solana, why did it go down? Well, a lack of new blocks being produced. Resource exhaustion after an influx of high compute transactions. That's computer talk for network overload. Validators ceased processing new blocks for 5 hours. This was the effect. What did they do about it? Well, Solana Foundation told validators to restart their systems. The Solana Foundation told their validators to restart their systems. So what happened because this system went down, this blockchain went down, a huge blockchain at that? A potential of 975 million transactions were unable to occur because of the outage. Think about that. In a 5-hour period, almost 1 billion transactions. This happened in September of 2021 and in January of 2022, causing a 12% dip until the bulls just bought it back. So why Solana for me? 65,000 transactions per second versus Ethereum's current 13 transactions per second. That will improve over time for Ethereum as they are going to be going to layer 2 in August. Learn more about layer 2, really super important. So this makes it popular among the NFT community for Solana. OpenSea features their NFTs in its marketplace. And what I also like about Solana is that they have a proof of stake mechanism and proof of history so that transactions can be validated. So transactions will be validated, and then with proof of history, if transactions need to be moved in sequence of when they were executed before that transaction happened, they can do that seamlessly. It's a great blockchain, lots of great technology. All right, so general thoughts on Solana. Most blockchains that features NFTs and cryptos will deal with hacks or system downs at some point or another. You as the user need to be aware of what to look out for and to always be cautious. Never be the first person to mint or do something. And also remember, cold wallets are your friend. So a hot wallet is like a MetaMask, a hot DeFi wallet would be like a MetaMask or the Meyer app for Elrond, and then connecting your cold wallet to your hot wallet and sending those over. Your cold wallet will have your private keys offline, so that's an extra layer of protection. We have seen Solana at a steady decline since November of 2021 from an all-time high of $259. Solana is currently around $43. I actually looked at it right now, June 13th. I think it's actually in the 30s, more than 78% drop. At the time of this recording, I'm going to assume that's probably about 85%. Who knows how much more bleeding we have? But whatever it is, if you like a project, get involved if you so decide. Not financial advice. That's at least how I approach things. I have cost averaged in and have purchased at all different price points. Quick shout out to Benjamin Minsu. He is the CEO of the Elrond blockchain. His handling of a DEX issue on the Elrond network was absolutely incredible. And so I wanted to talk about a couple different things. One is that they were able to solve the protocol bug. and it was a critical one at that. They were also able to isolate and solve the exploit. All funds were checked and verified across all wallets, all Meyer wallets. I also believe that the cold wallets as well. If you use a Nano Ledger X, you can also put your Elrond on there. I've actually moved some of my Hog Homie comics over there. All along with recovery, right? So current at this time of recording, 95% of funds recovered. Here's what I really like about Elrond, and it's not a backslap to any other blockchain that has endured any problems. They said whatever is missing from this exploit, and they didn't call it a hack, will be covered by the Elrond Foundation. Analyze the effect and consequence that this has had on a network, right? So they are very well aware of what this means. They discovered a protocol bot that was compromised. I also retweeted this on CraigO's Crypto Corner page on my Twitter, so check that out. Really like that blockchain, like what they're doing with technology. I like the use of ease of their Meyer app, which is their DeFi wallet. So I highly recommend that you check them out. And you also start to learn a little bit cold wallets. I didn't talk much about it in today's episode, but I've mentioned it a few times. I really want to make sure that people are protecting themselves and they understand how to move back and forth digital assets and also cryptocurrencies. On-Chain Monkey is one of my favorite projects that was launched on one chain. So they reduced the cost of gas fees on ETH. It is on the Ethereum network. So we're basically this month in June, we're going to have what they call a karma burn. So we were airdropped a dessert, and then I will have my on-chain Genesis monkey consume that dessert, and it will create my Karma 2 monkey. Highest level of social currency. I love how this community engages. I love what they are doing. I tweeted something the other night and got about 40 engagements, about 11 retweets, but I didn't do it for what the engagement would be. I wanted to honestly speak from my heart about why I'm in this project. And I said, this project is going to make a lot of holders happy, both in short and long term. This is not financial advice. I literally put that in parentheses. I just love the fundamentals and community engagement. And it also makes me feel confident and proud to be a part of the on-chain community, on-chain monkey community. And I'm hoping at one point or another I might get them on as a guest. All right, so talking about mass adoption, PayPal of all. And I don't have PayPal. I actually use Venmo. I was looking around the room and thinking if anybody else uses Venmo. So PayPal announced today that its users will now be able to transfer cryptocurrency from their accounts. So what does this mean? So there were like 4 things that I was able to pull from that. One is this will allow PayPal customers to transfer supported coins into PayPal from their DeFi wallets, right? Or move crypto from its app to external crypto addresses. This includes exchanges and hardware wallets. You will also be allowed to send crypto to other PayPal users in seconds. This, to me, is the way that we introduce crypto to the masses, that how many people are on PayPal? Now there's a crypto option. So there's going to be, for a while, people are going to be collecting crypto and just keeping it on PayPal because that's where they feel comfortable. How do we get them more comfortable into this space? We start to take care of these exploits. We start to take care of systems going down. We start to create more consumer confidence. And that doesn't come for a while, and it surely doesn't come overnight. What are the benefits of using crypto with PayPal? Well, PayPal gives users the ability to buy, sell, hold crypto, and they did this in October of 2020. So they've already been ahead of the ball in this regard, setting up what's happening now. In late March of 2021, PayPal launched the checkout with crypto. Okay, this allowed millions of consumers, millions of consumers to check at many different online businesses using cryptocurrency. This is a natural conversion for users who want to do more with their digital asset. When you hold on to a digital asset and someone says that's gold, you're like, well, that's great, but can this gold help me to buy a house? Can this gold help me to put food on my family's table? My thoughts, and the only negative that I have with PayPal, and I don't know enough about it, are the fees. How many fees are there? We know it's fee heavy on the Ethereum blockchain, hence one of the reasons why they're going to layer 2. Once we do that, Ethereum is tried and true, and a lot of people are going to gravitate to that blockchain. A lot of people are then going to discover some of the NFT projects that I'm in. So I'm super excited about that. So what's the good? Engaging and showing crypto's long-term value. People know the blockchain isn't going anywhere. and we hear metaverse and Web3. These are generalized terminologies to talk about blockchain smart contract technology and how it's going to be used from Web 2 opportunities now into merging into Web 3. Web 3 is thousands of nodes. If you think about it, it's if you have a Web 3 website, there are thousands of nodes all over the world, maybe hundreds of thousands or millions. So that information isn't just in one place. When you have a server on Web 2, you pull the plug out from the wall, and guess what happens to your website? Bye-bye, it goes down. So I'm really excited to see, can we make headway to then get Coinbase, to then get PayPal, maybe to get Venmo. You can actually buy crypto on their platform. Cash App, you can buy crypto. But what you don't want is it under a custodial wallet. I want you to see, I would like to see you, it's not financial advice, I want to see you guys keeping your own crypto. So ETH is going from a proof of work to a proof of stake over the next few months. What will that do? For those of you that don't know, proof of work basically says that it's high computational numbers that create the cryptos. Whereas proof of stake, you're putting money up, or you're putting crypto up to validate those transactions. So what will that do in short? It will lower gas fees. It will increase user activity. That's my hope, right? And what does not solve are the opportunities for mass adoption. It does not solve that opportunity, but I look at it as the opportunity to create more conversation. NFT NYC is coming up. I'm really excited to see just what will happen and just the conversations that will come out, and then the social media sharing. And we also have to remember that Facebook, LinkedIn, I almost said LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, all of these platforms play an engagement in bringing out what Web3 is all about to the overall population that engage with a smartphone. If you're able to use a smartphone, you are going to be able to, at some point or another, figure out how this all works. And I can tell you that it's not overnight, and maybe the learning curve is frustrating or something new that you don't want to take on. But right now in a down market, there's some really cool opportunities. I want you to educate, learn, and grow. I want to give a shout out to 5 of my favorite NFT projects that I am a holder of. One is Toonie Mooney. I am truly grateful for what you guys do in the space. On-Chain Monkey, your community is together. Super excited for our Karma Mint to create these Karma 2 and to add to the collection and that ethos. Hog Homies, High Res, you're doing it right. I love your level of engagement. Knights of Degen, hopefully we're going to be having Drew Austin on the podcast. I did speak with him at length. I love his podcast. I love what he's doing. Not his podcast. I love his collection. Hopefully he'll love my podcast because he is coming on. And then the last one is Superworld. They were actually my first interview. So shout out to Devin and also Rish Latlakar, who was the interviewee. He's the CEO of that company and the co-founder. It is a lazy mint, so you can go right onto their platform. Their NFTs have 68.4 billion unique plots of land that map the real world. So there's a lot of creativity, and it will fascinate your awe in this space. Your awe. Well, okay, we'll go with that one. Thanks so much for tuning into CraigO's Crypto Corner on the Web3 Things. Talk to you guys soon.